Hey, what's up, everybody? Got a great episode for Six Man Blitz for you today. Unfortunately, me and Jake went in different directions with the podcast. I was so grateful for my time working on this podcast with Jake because this has been better than we could have ever imagined it to be. Just the memories we made with this podcast, the high profile guests we got on this podcast, everything about this podcast was great because I was doing it with one of my best friends. And I'm just continuing it because this is my passion. This is what I've been wanting to do for a while. Talking sports, covering sports, everything about that is just what the career I want to have going forward. So I'm excited show you guys my version of Six Man Blitz, the new things some of the new ideas I wanted to do with this. So here you go. This is my new version. Everybody, I'm proud to welcome on my big bro, Jay Huff. It's a little overdue. We got Jake, Julian on for interviews, but scheduling conflicts, our people couldn't get in contact with your people kind of thing. It happens.
Yeah, that ain't even a half. So this is our third take.
Yeah. It took us a minute to get this going, but we're here. We're figuring it out. So how you feeling today? Seem a little stressed.
Yeah, I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to give it 110%.
Sir, that's what we love to hear. But now let's get into some NBA. We got some NBA talk to cover. We got some NFL talk to cover. And then some advice you would give to a player, who's not trying to hang it up yet about some life after football. So let's get into it. NBA playoffs, Mavs versus Suns. Now, what are you thinking about this series?
I ain't thinking much, It's just a series that's not as intriguing as the rest for me. But, Luka is Luka, He's going to do what he's going to do. He's going to drop a 45 triple-double on your head. But, 6 games at the most, 5. Yeah. I say he win 1 for sure.
Yeah, he's got enough power to win 1.
He doesn't have any help, I've been saying this for a while. Like, who is his number 2 guy? He don't have no,
Bronson,
no Middleton sometimes. Or no Devin Booker or CP3. Like, he don't got that guy. Brunson, yeah, but ain't nobody gonna confuse him for an all-star. He balled out in the playoffs in the last series, but we'll see what happens this series. See if that trend continues.
Yeah, I really like what the Suns have been doing. I'm not
gonna call him my number 2 though.
Nah, he's number 3 at best. But I really like what the Suns have been doing defensively. They've been letting Luka beat him, because a lot of defensive teams, the Clippers couldn't stop Luka. So why try to stop him? Stop everybody else around him. And they've been doing a good job. Aiden, Chris Paul, Booker, they've been getting A's. So that's all that matters. But it's just I feel for Luka. He's still a dominant playoff performer, though. We talked about this on our first take. He's still very young. He's 23, but looking at his numbers, 35 a game in the playoffs. That's
the stats are there, but they're empty calories. Look at LeBron early in his career when he was getting bounced out by Detroit and the Celtics before he went to Miami. You just gotta get through that first phase of trying to build the perfect team for him, and he's gotta get a number 2 or else he probably gonna get up out of there. But Dallas is gonna make sure they do everything they can to keep him.
Yeah, Kid is doing a good job. I like him.
Yeah, he's doing a good coach. He's a good coach.
They're doing a good thing going forward. But let's shift to the next series, the more interesting series. Memphis versus Golden State. What's your outlook on this one?
I think this is going to be a dogfight. As you can see, the first game, what they win by 1?
Yeah, and that was a gritty win too. At that.
Yeah, so that was a roller coaster ride in and of itself. But I just think Golden State has got way more experience, been there, done that. And Memphis is, a young team that I feel like over exceeded expectations. And a lot of times throughout history, you see those teams kind of feather out in the playoffs. So, yeah, I think it'll go 6 or 7, definitely, though.
6 games.
It's going to be fun to watch.
Very fun because Ja Morant's such a young star. The whole Grizzlies team in a whole is young. Steven Adams is their oldest player. And just looking at
he don't even be on the court though.
No, not in these playoffs because shit, they got Brandon Clark, a guy who can rebound, a big man, rebound, score.
Right.
Jaren Jackson Jr.
He got
You
on that
saw
with
what he could do.
Draymond.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jared Jackson is cold.
He got clipped.
Bro. He has got everything. He's the new age big, I think. Like, the more you can get like that, the better you are in this league long term. Shoot, it's getting further and further away from like those bigs of the past. So you got to be really versatile and athletic and just skilled. And he's all of that. And he got a clip.
He can defend too.
Yeah, exactly. He do everything.
Everything.
So, but he's also young. So this comes with this, bumps and bruises. I think this playoff experience for them is going to be huge for the years to come. But I just, I think they're a little bit ahead of their time. But I love to watch them. I ain't even watching the regular season as much.
Yeah.
I did when they started getting really hot. Like, I was like, Memphis is winning every game. So,
it went on a nice little run. They did, yeah.
Yeah, they went on a nice little run. And they was beating big teams. I know they blew us out, right? They blew the Bulls out.
Now, what do you think about Ja Morant's dad sitting courtside, again, next to Usher, Yo Gotti, all these Memphis people? Like, what do you think about that?
I don't know. He doing a little too much. You ask me. Like, what you famous for? But that's awesome. I'm sure he had a big part in Ja's upbringing and
It's good to see though.
They fuck with him. Yeah.
Shit.
It's good to see. It's always good to see a Black father there for his kids and just been there through and through. So like to have that type of publicity. I think it's perfect. Like everybody was bashing LeVar Ball, but shit, it worked.
Yeah, it did.
And one thing you can't say he wasn't there for him, and they all are still doing phenomenal. And they got like a Netflix docuseries or something coming out.
They're making some moves. So, he was just in a commercial with LaMelo too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and LaMelo's got
he getting some shit too.
He got the Hulu commercial in the AT&T one. Nah, he's good. They're both great commercials too. So he definitely, really transformed shit.
Yeah, it's good to see because we want more LeVar Balls. We want more T. Moran, I think is his name. We want more of that instead of them, and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air kind of episodes, the ones that make you cry. Marlon Wayne's coming on there too. We don't want
that. Oh, man. That shit was kind of weak. I seen the rating. I was like, I really like the show. But before I watched it, I seen the ratings, and it was like a C average. And I was like, I wonder why they rated them that way. So I watched it, and I was like, I guess a lot of them situations was kind of forced. But it was entertaining. It was definitely like exaggerated, dramatized,
Yeah.
But it was entertaining, shit, to say the least.
All right, now let's go back to the NBA playoff talk. Let's move towards the East. Miami, Philadelphia, looking at that series, Embiid coming back third game or the fourth game. How far can Philly get without Embiid in this series, you think?
Oh, without him, they're getting swept. What?
I mean, Atlanta stole a game against Miami, just one game.
They still have their best player, though.
Yeah, but looking at this team, Philly's still a deep team, just that big man presence. They really don't have a second big man that's even rotationally good. You could put him in the rotation.
DeAndre Jordan was out there just to be out there. What the fuck?
Yeah, he don't play.
He need to go and get.
He need to hang it up.
I remember they was calling him, Kyrie, and KD the big three when they all went to
Yeah, he was a part of that.
They didn't even know his ass was on the team. Man.
Shit, but no, he was a big part of recruiting Kyrie and KD to Brooklyn, though. Big part of that.
Well, you could be friends with people just as this,
Yeah. But I think, Embiid, if he comes back game 3, I think Philly's got a chance. As long as they're down, if they're down 2-0, I think they still got a chance. 1-1 possibly, they got a great chance. But you go down 3-0 with Embiid coming game 4, at that point, don't bring him back. Because you're not going to win 3 games in a row.
Yeah, I wouldn't even bring them back if they down 1-2. Then you bring them back in game 3.
Yeah.
But if you got 1-1, why bring them back game 3?
Yeah, let them get that rest. But it's tough because Miami's so good defensively. They got a clip too. They got hella shooters. Some of these guys you can't even name because where did they even come from? Like, and they're
that's what I'm saying. They're boring to watch too.
Yeah. But Bam.
I mean, who's their best player? Jimmy Buckets?
Tyler Hero, maybe. You can make an argument.
He had 16 last game. He didn't even play in the closeout game, and they won convincingly. So
yeah,
I'm just saying, when you don't have like a top 5 player,
like a closer,
it's hard to be not even that, just a dog like Giannis or
Tatum,
Booker. Like, I don't think they don't have that a top level class of athlete like the KDs, the Giannis's, the Jokic, Stephs and stuff. I don't think Butler or Adebayo, as good as they are, they're not, top 5.
No, definitely not. But now let's get to the last East series. Very interesting. We were able to watch game 2 of this series. Looking at game 1, you're like, Milwaukee's going to win this convincingly, even without Middleton. But game 2, right. Brown, 17 points in the first quarter, and then 30 to finish off, 6 for 10, Tatum, 5 for 10. When they're playing like this, they're hard to beat.
They are, sure, and they blew them out. I mean, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the turnaround, the quick adjustment. It looked like just a bad matchup, and they were going to have to beat them with the 3, but, I mean, they was on fire. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, both over 50% from the 3-point line. They both shot 10 of them things, so they was definitely hooping. So we'll see what happens in Milwaukee. This is going to be the toughest series, in my opinion. This is the finals.
Yeah,
when you talk about talent, like these are like the top 2 out of 3 teams left. Like, I think both of these teams are better than Philly and Miami, and I think both these teams could beat Phoenix as well as Memphis, but we'll see with Golden State. But I would take both of them over Golden State too.
Shit, one of them already beat Phoenix, and that was the finals last year.
Right, and Giannis shoot off a torn. Well, we thought he was done when he landed on his feet. I was like,
I thought he was done too.
Giannis. This boy came back down 0-2 and won 4 straight. And then the last game, he went 17 for 18 from the free throw line and dropped 50 in a closeout.
And he had a triple-double too.
At that point, I was like, he's the best player in the league. And I'm like, what? KD? If KD's foot was in shorter, I'm like, nah.
KD, yeah,
ain't
he's
no
so
ifs.
good, so you can't put him in the conversation no more.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And then he shit the bed. That was a terrible performance. I am not impressed at all. All that hype. That was the most overhyped team, arguably, I can remember.
That they really
Since when did you hear a seed being the favorite?
Never. And that really showed you, like, team chemistry really matters that much. Because those guys barely played together. When it came down to the stretch, the Celtics worked them. It looked like the Celtics really was never down in the series. Even when the Brooklyn had a couple leads, they were still in the game. It didn't even matter.
Yeah, they were down like a dub at half one of those games, and they just came back, and it wasn't even close at that. So, I mean, they got swept for a reason. They were a bad team. Too many ups and downs during the season. Obviously, the Kyrie thing, and then Steve he's still wet behind the ears, so shit. He got a lot to learn since he jumped the line, but that's a different podcast.
Now, so this, like, talking about these great young players, 25 and younger, Booker, Luka, Tatum. Now, if you're trying to start a franchise, say you're the Orlando Magic, who are you choosing out of the 3?
I might take Luka low key.
The dominant playoff performer, one of the greatest playoff performers of all time already.
But you can't go wrong with Jason Tatum. I like him because he's a presence on both sides of the floor. He's bigger.
Defense well, yeah.
Athletic, more athletic, everything. I think his ceiling might be higher just because Luka isn't athletic, but you see guys like him, because they don't have to rely on their athleticism, sustain a level of success like a Dirk or, like a Tim Duncan. Well, Tim was super athletic early, but, he was able to rely on the fundamentals for so many years. So you could see Luka doing the same thing, just using his body, deflecting defenders from and handcuffing them behind him and shit. Yeah, so
I
do
do
like good for a while.
Either one of those guys you'll be good with, but leader-wise, I think Tatum and Booker are better leaders than Luka. Personally, that's what I think.
Booker, I was so impressed by his post-game interview after they closed out the series last week. He was just a phenomenal speaker. You could just tell, like, the character he has and the reverence he had for Chris Paul and just how well he communicated about just the inner workings of the game, their mentality going into the season as well as the playoffs, what they expected. I felt like I was just listening to just and his voice deep as hell. I'm like, damn.
Yeah. Him and Zach LaVine.
He over sexy.
hey, wrong podcast.
Wrong podcast.
But no, like, if you got to give him some credit too. I mean, looking at the Kardashian curse and the Jenner curse, he's beat it. He's been one of the most successful ones out of it. So give him a nod for that. Give him a little pat on the back for that.
I mean, everybody beat it. Kanye beat it. Tiger
is nuts.
Lamar knocking Nick Carter out in that pay-per-view fight. I think they split 20 grand a piece.
Okay.
But hey, that's neither here nor there. That's a different podcast.
Yes, sir. That is a different podcast. But all right, now let's switch to the NFL draft. There were a lot of winners in this draft. I think a lot of teams got better, got a lot of more talent, and I think the league's going to be more competitive as a result of that. So who were some of your winners, Coach say, because, we already talked about, winners. You can't win the draft until you see production, but who were some picks you liked?
Well, let me stop you while you're ahead. First of all, it don't matter what team drafts who, if the top of their organization is not good. You see these teams like Detroit, and there's a ton you can name, whether it's Jacksonville, Chicago for the longest. What's been constant throughout these years and years of unsuccessful seasons? Upper management.
Yeah.
And you see now when the Bulls cleared house up with upper management, we picked up the right GM. Yeah, we picked up the right head of basketball operations. Now we got a great coach. Come on now, and we drafted well. Now we're developing. Now we're on the up and up. Now we're a free agent away from
contender,
really being a contender, serious contender. So I think the Bears are on the same path. With the new GM hire, I think he did the phenomenal job with what he had in terms of, like, he didn't get, a ton of first round picks, but we got a second for Khalil, right?
Yeah.
We got a second from Khalil, and then during the draft, he kept stacking draft picks. We didn't go with, like, the flashy names, like the Pickens and some of the later receivers that were left, but we got O-linemen, which
we needed.
We've struggled not only with overall talent, but just like depth. Like, our first string ain't even good. If he get hurt, we screwed. So that was a product of, that's been a huge problem for the Bears for years and years and years. And we really loaded up on O-linemen as well as D-backs, which
secondary,
there was just way too many busts last year. It was absolutely ridiculous, and you can't have that in the NFL. It's too hard to play defense in today's NFL to be beating yourself. So I think we're on the up and up, but we got a long way to go.
Yeah,
we ain't until A-Rod retire. We probably not gonna win, but hopefully he got this his last year or two. So we'll see with him. You never know.
We can only pray.
I know. Everybody was hyping us up. He's not going back to Green Bay. Like, how the fuck?
He's going to Denver.
How do y'all know? So,
everybody got a source nowadays.
They was teasing us. I thought he was out of the division. I thought he was going to Denver. No questions asked.
Yeah.
It just made
no sense. Now,
but that's a whole nother division and a whole nother can of worms.
He didn't want those problems. He wanted to stay in the
whole nother
NFC.
Can of worms. You ain't playing the Bears in Detroit twice a year. That's for damn sure.
And that it's going to be tough to even get to the playoffs, let alone choke in the playoffs.
Right. Because that means one team's got to win the division, and the other three teams are going to be wild cards. So there's only one left.
I think they should just add another wild card team, honestly, because there's so many good teams. I'd add another one, honestly.
Add another one, damn. Motherfuckers gonna be getting in at 6 and 11.
And the NFC,
NFC East.
Yeah, there's gonna be another bad blowout.
No. 7 and 9, like teams like the Eagles, like. Don't get me wrong, they should have been rewarded for their season, but that was just a bad playoff game.
Yeah.
You could just tell they were just not that. This is the playoffs. You can't be making all the mental errors and throwing picks when guys were wide open. Like, it's just that looked ridiculous. So I think the quality of football should still be at, important. Of course, playoff tickets sell, but shit.
Yeah,
let's keep it how it is. I like the 17th game, man.
Yeah, it was a great addition. But now, so looking at the NFL draft being over now, NFL offseason is getting concluded. Who's going to be your first fantasy pick next year? It's going to be tough. I know. You get the first round, you get the first pick, or you get shortened by the snake draft. You get snaked by the snake draft. And you have to draft like McCaffrey or one of the last running backs left.
Yeah, I think if I go first overall, shoot, I might take Austin Eckler at 1.
It's the safest pick because he's durable. He gives you everything you like all these other running backs could possibly give you and more. But the thing is, the only injuries he battles is some concussions. He be getting hit in the head a lot.
Yeah, but if you got a concussion, you got a chance to play that following week, if you pass the test. And it's, unfortunately, we look at it like that. Being fantasy players,
be like, please, just suck it up, man. Just play in the game.
Yeah, for sure. But he's a guy, and he's a guy that a lot of people might overlook too. Like, he's not the flashy. Christian McCaffrey, or even Alvin Kamara, like these big names, but he is consistent. Last year, he took an enormous jump from the year before. So I was extremely impressed with him, and I've had him for the last 2 years. So
old reliable.
Exactly. True. Other than him, I love Alvin Kamara. We'll see what happens. Last year was a bit of a shaky year for him. I always kept him in the lineup no matter what, just because that's, I'm just loyal to him. He's my favorite running back. So outside of that, though, some great value adds. You might want to pick whoever comes out of Green Bay, the top receiver. Mm-hmm. You might want to get him. Because A-Rod gonna put it where he need to. All they got to do is fucking catch it. He done made some guys great receivers that was no shows elsewhere. Like my man's, both them receivers that went to the Raiders after they had huge Jordy
Nelson. What's the other one? I forgot his name. So. Hey, bro, he's on the NFL Network. Yeah, James Jones.
Yeah. Jones. He led the league in touchdowns with in Green Bay. Got a bag in the Raiders, and you never heard the rest of the story.
But that's a smart choice. Jalen Hurts at quarterback too. That's another move.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts is my favorite quarterback, and I think he's going to take a next step. He's just hungry. He got that dog. And the thing about, like, throwing mechanics and stuff, like, that's something with repetition, you can really work on. It's not like some of these attributes that are a little tougher to gain, like speed and strength and stuff. So he's going to put the work in. There's no question about that.
Definitely.
And they got A.J. Brown, which is going to be a huge addition. Imagine if he continues to run the ball as well as he does, and then he gets, like, A.J. Brown, he going to throw him a slant. He going to go 80.
Yeah.
Shoot. It's going to be a cheapo. He can be averaging 30 plus.
He might even have better, like, statistics than in Tennessee, because that's more of a, like, I feel like Philadelphia passes the ball more than Tennessee. Yes. No.
That's a tough one.
Both run dominant, but I think because Tennessee's more on Derrick Henry. He gets 30 carries a game.
Yeah, that's true. And I will say, in terms of, like, RPOs and everything, Tennessee has a great play action game, though. They really benefit from that. And when that happens, linebackers suck into the line, and AJ got one guy to beat.
And he usually beat him.
In the box, and it's 1-on-1, right? So, no, that was a huge pickup. I didn't know him and Jalen Hurts was friends.
I didn't either. But shit,
he was at his
good friends
party
this year.
Oh, yeah, we'll see. I'm sure, if anybody, he feel like, when you got a guy you can trust and you see it, like, with and we're gonna see it in Vegas too with Derek Carr and
they're gonna be a nasty combo, man.
Devontae Adams. Derek Carr might take that Keyshawn Johnson jump. Keyshawn might finally be right about Derek Carr. He had a great year though, so I'll tip my cap to him, because usually it's always something with him too where he's a great. He always lead a comeback. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in terms of comebacks and, like, winning when it's a one score possession late in the fourth. So
he doesn't get a lot of credit.
Silas stayed healthy and really pushed through, and he drove them down the field to potentially tie the game, if not win. I forgot, against the Bengals. So
he was damn near close.
He's going to take the next step because they have a whip around him.
Renfro,
my man
Waller's
a great
He's
pick.
a top 3 tight end.
He might.
Mark Andrews took that jump though. I think Mark Andrews is better than Waller now.
The thing about Mark Andrews is he don't have a Derek Carr in terms of, like, throwing the ball. So it's a little different. It's a little different. And just the running style in general, but I'm excited to see. And Lamar is another good one.
Yeah,
that you can't go wrong with.
All right, now let's switch to a more serious topic. So what's some advice you would give to a football player, an athlete, because you played football your whole life and you made that great adjustment. You're doing great in real estate. You're doing good in sales. You're doing a lot of great things for yourself right now. So what is some advice you would give to an athlete who's looking at life after football?
Yeah, I think it really depends where you start in your journey with thinking about life after football. Hopefully it's sooner rather than later. And just in terms of, like, okay, what do I like outside of football? And I think, number one, it starts with that, like, just being able to see what else you're passionate about outside of football. We're not, athletes aren't just these jocks that enjoy and love their sport only. So finding something that you're interested in that you can potentially major in college is exactly what I did, and it really worked out in terms of transitioning into a career outside of sports. So once I got into my business classes, I started to learn more and more about different aspects of business. So I always knew I was interested, but I didn't know in what exactly and what that looked like in terms of pay and all of that. So the more I learned about business, the more I learned about each different department. And I really enjoyed my management classes and leadership classes. So the best way to get to leadership, or at least the fastest, was sales. So that's really what led me to sales. I found out I was good at it and I really enjoy it. So throughout going, if I didn't get that education in business, I wouldn't have ultimately been able to find what I was interested in terms of what I was going to do as a career outside of football without that. So I would definitely encourage people to really put time and effort into their education and pick a major that they're truly passionate about. So that would be one. And two, ultimately, don't view yourself as only a football player or an athlete in general. You have so many different qualities and benefits about you that are outside of the sport. And a lot of times you see guys get really down when they come to that realization that, football is no longer, is because we all had that view of us. That was our identity. We saw our identity in football. So I would definitely, make sure you constantly are reminding yourself that you're more than just an athlete. And then three, I think, just really, what was my third one?
We did it like 3 times.
I know.
But I think,
what was it?
With just 1 and 2, I think those are very important. I mean, just focusing on life after football while you're still playing football is important as well. Mm-hmm. People, them teachers that are always saying you ain't be shit, they always remind you, though, what are you going to do after football? What are you going to do when you can't play it no more, kind of thing? I don't think there's always negative connotation with that. I think it's important to, think about that aspect.
Yeah, 100%. And always give your all to what you're passionate about. Football being number one, but at the same time, you have to also, that's just the life we live in, where you want to have, a fail safe. At least that football is not forever. Ain't nobody still playing.
Tom Brady trying.
Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady is the exception to the rule, but ain't nobody playing till they're 65 or 75 like they are in other professions like sales and things like that. So you are going to have a second life out of football regardless of how well you do or how early you stop. So it's important to find things that you're interested in, whether you start them right at, say you're a year out, you didn't get a call, now you're transitioning out, or you've been in for 3 to 5 years and now you're not in the league, or whatever the case is. Having something that this is what I'm interested in, this is what I wanted to do after sports, and the best do it. Shit, LeBron got all these fantastic businesses.
Shaq,
same thing with Tom Brady. Every list of athletes that kind of branched outside of their sport. So it's part of the nature of life change. So gotta be ready for it.
That's definitely important. You hit on some key things, but thanks again for coming on, man. This was overdue. We've been talking about it. You've been telling me, get me on the podcast, but we finally went through with it. I'm glad I had you on, because
likewise,
our chemistry, man, I feel it. But once again, long podcast once again. Appreciate you for coming on once again. Thanks, man. Hey, my people will talk to your people. We'll get in contact so we can get you on again. All right.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
That's all I have for sports today. Now, with this show, I want to do a lot more. I want to talk about juicier topics. So I couldn't pick a better guest than my sister, also known as Juicy Jam. So
I couldn't agree more, Micah.
All right. We're not going to push it. But So you've been very vocal about the Amber Heard trial, Johnny Depp trial.
Yes, I have.
What's the update on that?
So right now, Amber Turd just recently tried to get her case overturned and dismissed. Now, thankfully, Johnny Depp's freaking, camp knows what the fuck they're doing and knows what's going on.
Good lawyers.
Good lawyers.
The
50
best.
million, okay, defamation case.
You gotta have that kind of shit where you got your girl abusing you.
Okay, hey, men can be abused too.
Not me though. Just playing.
Jocelyn, if you're watching this, I know you be beating my brother's ass, and I salute you.
That's for a different podcast, but
touche. But on a serious note, yes. So the case has gotten thrown out, and now we're waiting Amber Turd to make the statement.
Yeah. Clever work. Like, if you wanted more update on this, check out her Facebook, Jancelyn Huff. But the next topic we're going to talk about is Pete Davidson. Him and Kanye's beef has been taking over the internet for the past months.
This is true.
So what he just did recently was some bullshit. I mean, Kanye West is a crazy guy, but Pete Davidson, he's been acting normal. But recently, he just got a tattoo of Kim Kardashian's kids' initials on his neck. You think he took it too far?
Honestly, Micah, I think we're dealing with two people that need to be back on their
They both have bad mental health. If that's keep in mind that.
Now, mind you, I definitely think this is a pissing contest between Pete Davidson and Kanye West.
Okay.
And with that being said, I think they're both trying to outwin each other in the media. So, I really do like Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson together. It's a weird kind of Travis Barker and Court. You know I'm going with
You can't hate Pete Davidson though. He's a good guy. A lot of people love him, but I think he took it too far.
I do. I mean, one thing you know about Kanye is obviously he don't play about his kids.
Yeah.
And
we've seen him do that publicly. He don't play about his kids.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, with, the whole TikTok thing and North being on TikTok, I think this is another reason Pete Davidson is trying to push Kanye's buttons. Is it right? Hell no. Do I agree with it? Of course not. But is it good entertainment? Yes. And for Juicy Jan,
I'm here for all the tea. So,
definitely
she fills
juicy.
me in every day about it.
Yes.
And the Shade Room, the post sends me DMs.
They didn't hire me, so fuck the Shade Room.
We're going to have to make our own Shade Room on 6THMANBLITZ then.
Oh, yes.
But the next thing I wanted to talk about was Cam Newton. He won on $1 Million Worth of Game. That podcast, a lot of women hate that podcast for some reason.
Yes, I'm one of those women.
Okay. They're not Kevin Samuels, but they keep it real. $1 Million Worth of Game. That's what they do.
Okay, we're not going to bring up Kevin Samuels.
Salute to that king. That's all I'm going to say.
That's a toxic.
He does God's work.
No, he doesn't.
He humbles people. That's what you got to do.
See, Micah gonna get canceled.
I've already been canceled on Twitter before. I don't care, But so
he's got PTSD from that.
Sensitive subject, but Cam Newton recently said, like on $1 Million Worth of Game, women are trying to be bad bitches, but they don't know how to shut up and let a man lead, or they don't know how to cook and stuff. Which some stuff, obviously,
I took that personal.
Too much. A lot of women took it personal.
I took it personal.
But I get what he's saying. I'm not gonna say I agree with it, but let me just hear your thoughts. Take the floor, because you're a woman.
Thank you, Micah. Yes, I am definitely took that personal. And Cam Newton, you are on my shit list. First of all, this is the thing. Most men want women to be submissive, right? But in order for us to be submissive, you have to do the stuff that you're supposed to do. And I know Cam Newton has been in the gossip, in the blogs, but cheating on his girlfriend, wife, whatever she is.
He's a repeated offender.
Serial cheater. So how you want somebody to be submissive and you out here doing dirty? Exactly. Women are not going to do what you want to do. First of all, cooking is a natural instinct. Men need to know how to cook. I'm sorry. Who cooking for you when you're in your one bedroom apartment? Who is doing? Where are these women? Where are these men?
He does cook though. I mean, look at his YouTube. He cooks.
Okay, then why he need a woman? Women are out here doing everything. Okay, we bring the table. You get what I'm saying? So I need Cam Newton to understand before he makes comments like that you need to be realistic, sir. What are you doing in your relationship?
Okay, but hear me out though.
Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I love Cam Newton. I think he's fine as hell.
I love Cam Newton. He won MVP in 2015, brought his team to the Super Bowl. He has credibility.
Not in the relationship department, okay?
So one thing I think about with this is women get to say their opinion on what a man should be.
Right.
But I think guys should be able to have their opinion too. No, yes or no?
What do men bring other than problems?
Let's not dispute that women are problems too. We've seen some.
Hey,
No.
leave
We're talking
Black
about
China out of this.
Yeah, she's one of them. So
Yes.
which that's a great transition. So one thing I want to do with this show also is have hot take of the week.
Yes.
So the floor is yours. What's your hot take of the week?
All right. My hot take is that I was really rooting for Black China in this definition
That was your
case.
first mistake.
And I knew she wasn't going to win after they said she pulled a gun on Rob. And said she was just kidding. That's where I draw the line. Domestic violence.
No credibility.
I am against domestic violence, especially when it's women on men. Now, Rob, I truly believe that they had a case when it comes to, canceling the show. Because I genuinely would have loved to see them transition into not in relationship, but co-parenting.
Yeah, co-parenting. Which is
and
important.
I think it's very important. And I think it's very interesting that she got called out for only having both of her children one day out of the week. So,
Damn.
but I definitely wanted her to win because the black women need to take these Kardashians to court. All of them.
Black men too.
The Kardashian curse. Yes, it's a real thing. Travis Scott, Astroworld. Kanye, losing custody.
Devin
of his
Booker
kids.
though, we mentioned that with my brother Jaden on the Sports Talk.
Where is he now?
Devin Booker, he's doing good.
Is he in the playoffs?
Yeah, they just.
I bet right
they
now that he do not win the championship.
He's an unproblematic king. That's a salute to him. For
He
that.
stole his bro girl.
What you talking about? Ben Simmons?
Ben Simmons,
Ben
yes.
Simmons aren't bros.
But you know what? Ben Simmons had it coming because he did my girl Tinashe wrong.
He was trying to get at Michael Blackson's girl too. So.
Man, electric chair. I'm over these.
But he's
men.
got bad mental health, so we're not gonna be on this podcast.
Allegedly. No, I'm just kidding.
Down in men, because mental health is a serious thing.
It's a serious thing.
Serious
no.
issue.
And
so.
I hope Ben Simmons gets the help that he didn't need.
Me too. So he can get on the court.
Yes.
So, well, that's all that we have for Juicy Talk today. This is a segment that's going to continue for our next episodes. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes.
So it was nice. Thank you for coming on, Jen. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support so far. This is the next chapter for 6Man Blitz. And I'm so excited where it takes me. And if you haven't given 6Man Blitz 5 stars on Apple Podcasts yet, go ahead and do that move. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead. This is the first of many great episodes coming soon. So thank you for the support. Like I said, as always, peace.
Remember this motherfucking Grey Goose, baby. Drink in my cup. Let me go and get a little bit. I got this drink in my cup.